What's up, everybody? My name is Juwan Rohan, and this is the Misguided Podcast, where we intend to guide you to a better future. I'm sitting here with Gene, real estate investor. How you doing today, my brother?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Appreciate you for bringing me on board. How you feeling?
I'm living. I'm great. Today it is super sunny outside already. It's 8 a.m. And so I'm doing well. Busy day ahead of me. Time to get this money, man.
I see you up and at it, man. You're recording at 8 a.m. It's 10 a.m. my time.
Oh yeah. So I try and record early. And I try and do it as early as possible because I know a lot of entrepreneurs got stuff going on during the daytime.
So you got for sure. Yeah, no, that's a hack, low key.
Yeah, for real. Cool. Well, let's go ahead and get into your story. Just for the audience, I found Gene on the Black Dialogue Real Estate Podcast. Shout out to homie Sam. So I heard your story and thought it was super intriguing. Hit you up in the DMs and you were super responsive. Like I didn't have any problem reaching out, and so I appreciate that, man. Cool. So where are you from, man?
I'm from Chicago, man. Born and raised Chicago, the South Side to be specific. Grew up in Chicago my entire life. Majority of my family from Mississippi, but I was the only one that was born in Chicago. So, Chi-Town, Windy City. Some people may say Chirac, depending on who you're talking to. But
yeah, right.
Yeah, Chicago.
Okay, that's cool. So you've been out there this whole time? Like you ain't lived anywhere else?
Yeah, so I lived in Richmond, Virginia for 6 months. I lived there for a bit. Let's see, did I go any place else? I lived in Milwaukee, Wisconsin for a while as well. For about a year on and off. About a year, I had family out there, so I was staying with family. But for the most part, yeah, just local in Chicago.
Nice. That's dope. I've been to Chicago once, I believe, back when I was in college, and it was such a cool vibe. Definitely cool. So that's cool, man. Okay, so from Chicago, did you go to college there or anything?
No, so high school, I went to Simeon for high school, Simeon Career Academy, same high school as Derrick Rose, Jabari Parker,
Okay,
and a few other folks that played in the league, NBA that is. And then I went to Northern Illinois University for college. So that's about an hour and a half out, hour and 45 out from Chicago, in a little town called DeKalb. Got my degree there. Got a degree in cybersecurity. Well, specifically, I got a degree in information systems, and then ended up doing cybersecurity right after that.
That's crazy. That's so random, but I was literally reading a Wikipedia page on some dude last night, and he got a degree in information systems, and I was like, I never heard of that until literally now. And then now that you're saying, it's like, wow. So what exactly is that, and what was your plan to do with information systems?
Yeah, so let's just take it from the top then. In that case, right? So, got to college, didn't necessarily know exactly what I wanted to do, but I know I wanted to do something in business, right? So it was like, all right, cool. Well, what do I want to do in business? And so when I got there, I immediately declared business admin. It was just business admin. I didn't know what the hell the majors were, so I just did business admin at first. And then as I thought about it, the more I matured in like my first semester or whatever, it was like, damn, so I'm business admin. If I want to be in business, I want to be a boss. So if I'm going to be a boss, I need to know how to manage people.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, all right, cool. Let me do business management.
Okay.
Let me do business management. And so majored in business management. And then I ended up getting an internship where they was doing logistics, transportation and stuff like that. And so internship was paying me, pretty damn good. Imagine that this is a kid from the South Side of Chicago. This is why I went to Richmond, Virginia for that 6-month period. I was working with this company, this healthcare company doing operations management. And so I had no idea what operations management was until I started working there. And then it was like, all right, well, I'm killing it. They brought me back for a second internship. I know for a fact if I just, just keep performing well, stay on point, they're gonna get me a job. And we all going to college to get a fucking job, right? That's why you go. You go there so you can make some bread when you leave.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, cool. Let me make sure I solidify my position in this internship, so that I can get a full-time job with them. So I came back to school and I changed my major to operations management. It was still early, way early, where I was just taking my like general ed or like my prerequisite classes for business that everybody had to take that was a business major. So it was still pretty early for me to change. So I changed, didn't miss out on anything, was right on time. And so the operations management program they had at the university was a dual degree. So you could do operations management and you could do information systems. So I did both tracks. So I got a dual degree. So if I wanted to go the tech route, I could go the tech route. If I wanted to just stay and do the operations perspective, I could just do that. And so that's what kind of made me major in information systems. Was just like, all right, I already had a gig that was lined up. So like, let me go ahead and solidify it. But as I started taking the classes, I really try to understand the data, right? I try to think futuristic. I try to think long term. And one of the professors was saying, there's going to be more jobs in tech, more jobs in IT than any other career field in the world. And once I heard that, it was like, yeah, it's a no-brainer. Let me go ahead and take more IT classes than anything so that I can go ahead and get on board. And so what information systems is, in a short, is you just understanding information systems. So systems that a piece of hardware have, the software that hardware contains. So that could be, goddamn it, Excel. That could be Python. That could be MySQL Server. That could be all those different technology systems that somebody use. AWS.
So can you like, if I was having problems with my computer, can I bring it to you and you can like diagnose it, like almost Geek Squad type?
Not me.
Not you. So then, where do you step in though into that? Do you step into that if I was having problems with my computer, or like you only focus on the applications?
Yeah, I only focus on the applications.
Okay.
So there's multiple levels of IT, right?
Okay.
Multiple. You got some folks that you got the computer science folks. Those folks are just the folks that's like hardcore fucking coding, building websites and all that. Like, we ain't doing that in information systems.
Okay.
And information systems is, understanding, the applications, right?
Okay.
How do applications work? How do we bridge the gap between technology and people, right? Or technology and processes. So that's what information systems.
Now you clicked it. That was a good way to put it right there. That was good. Okay, that makes sense. Damn. So information system, studied that in college. All right. So what happens after college? What are you doing when you get out? Did you land that job?
So they offered me a full-time job,
Hey,
but the company was starting to tank.
Oh.
So it was like, the company was starting to tank, doing way much better now, but they stock price fell from like $120 a share to $20 a share. It even went as low as $10 a share.
And they like, tanked.
Yeah, they would so like, probably not a good idea for me to move forward with them if I'm thinking long term, because if I do, I'm a small fry in this whole mix of everything that's going on. The likelihood of me getting cut is going to be high. So I ended up moving with a different company that specialized in biopharmaceuticals, and was doing a IT development rotational program with them. Did that. Keep in mind, IT was never something that I truly enjoyed. Again, it was just that track where I knew for sure that I was going to be able to get a job in security. This area. If I got a degree in that. Okay. And so what I always tell folks all the time is like, sometimes you got to do what you have to do so that you can do what you love. Mm-hmm. Right? Do what you have to do so that you can do what you love. And so for me majoring in IT, me getting a job in IT was me doing what I had to do so that I can position myself to do what I love. Right. So end up doing that. It was taking the money from that, and I was pouring that money into, educational courses. I was pouring that money into real estate, starting businesses, and that sort of thing. So I leveraged the 9 to 5 as an opportunity to build wealth as an opportunity to leverage it as seed capital to get exactly what I want.
Yeah, no, that's great because I always preach that. Like, for me, I think I was like, stay with your 9 to 5 as long as you can. A lot of people say entrepreneurship, I want to be my own boss, right? Like, let me just go out there. But then they realize like how much harder it is. Like, why not just use that money from your 9 to 5 and put that in the business and double it, right? Double it, use the money from the business and from your 9 to 5 and just grow way quicker, as opposed to now you're trying to survive off your business, paying the rent, surviving, then you're trying to grow the business. It's super hard. I mean, and it's obviously works for some people, don't get me wrong, but it's just hard to get started for the average person. And so that is definitely a good key point. So let's briefly touch on all the businesses that you have created, and then we'll go down the list into more detail on them.
Yeah, so I've been starting businesses since I was in college. The first business that I ever had, which is dissolved now, but the first business I ever had was a partnership with a college friend. We had a company called Starved Belly, and Starved Belly was similar to a Grub Hub in a sense, where we had signed up all of the local restaurants that was on campus, and we had essentially a website where students and staff can order through to get their food delivered to them. So that was the first ever business that we started. We had drivers, we had our own app where we can track our drivers, where the students can log in and the staff can log in to actually see where the order is in queue, how far it is en route, literally the same exact way as Uber Eats and Grubhub, DoorDash, those sort of things. So we did that for a while.
What happened to that? Because that was obvious. It sounds like it was before Grubhub. Why y'all didn't blow that up?
It was a pretty damn, no, wasn't before.
Oh, okay.
It was a pretty good business. It just didn't fit in the business model. Folks was graduating school, this was happening. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it was good money. Don't get me wrong, like the money was there, but ended up going separate ways on that. But my first actual business, where it was just solely me, if you will, I got started out in network marketing. I made my first 6 figures in network marketing in a private real estate group where we sold real estate education. And then if you guys know network marketing has a direct sales system and the ability to be able to bring people under you, and essentially they can market and sell the same services as well. And then you get overrides on that. And I've always been a strong believer in network marketing companies, the good ones, because there are some out there that are not as good. But the beautiful thing about network marketing companies is they don't do any brand marketing, right? Paid advertising. They let their affiliates, they let the people, their agents or whatever they want to call them inside their company do all the marketing for them. And when they do that, all that additional ad spend they would have spent, they don't spend. They actually invested into the product. So a lot of network marketing companies really do have excellent and top tier products. So made my first 6 figures there. While I was doing that, I was also looking to purchase my first piece of real estate. So I was taking the money from there, buying real estate. I had a credit repair business. I was doing credit repair. And then as I got more involved in credit repair, I just realized that I didn't really like service-based businesses that much, where I got to work directly with somebody all the time. Because some people, especially folks that made poor financial decisions to get their credit together, they don't realize and understand that, hey, when I say 30 days, we got to wait 30 to 45 days to hear back from, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. They want results quick.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality of it is that you don't get results quick, especially when you start talking about, credit. You know what I mean? So I had a credit repair business, got rid of that, wasn't worth the headache anymore. I currently got 5 cars that I rent out on Turo and Hire Car, looking to add a 6th car pretty shortly. I got digital products. So I got ebook that I wrote back when COVID first came around, called The Power of an Idea, which is a beginner's guide to turning their ideas into massive profits. So that book was predominantly built around or for folks that had an idea for a business, didn't necessarily know how to get their idea to the ground. And I also gave out my systems and everything that I did to build my first 6-figure business, but I made it very, very general so that anybody can do it, right? In any business, right? Yeah. These are the proper systems that you need. You need a business plan. You need X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
So that I also got a self-defense company as well with my brother. I started that, and now we have a 70-30 split. I take 30%, he keeps 70%, and I don't do any of the work. I put the sweat equity in, built the brand up.
What is it? Self-defense?
Yeah, it's a self-defense company where we specifically provide concealed carry training to individuals in the state of Illinois. So built that up. Good money there. It's also fast money, similar to the notary game.
Mm-hmm.
That part. Let's see what else I got going on. That's really it. Outside of the digital courses, real estate. Because the Windy City defense. Let's see. Also partner with a tax firm, Badu Tax Services, when we have the fastest growing tax firm in the Midwest, where we specialize in tax planning, tax representation, tax preparation for individuals and businesses. And I think
so. Where do you have time to do all this, bro?
Yeah, you got to put it in the schedule.
Yeah, you gotta put it in for real, bro. I live by my schedule. Like I preach how important that calendar is because it really allows you to block off that time, right? Like there's no like, for me, like it's I have to see it days in advance, right? Like when did I scheduled our thing maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, our interview, right?
Like a month ago.
Well, a month ago, bro. Like, and when I first started this, I was doing it to like 3 months out. Like I was booked 3 months out every weekend, bro. And so I need that. It like gives me a peace of mind, and it also it makes me work even harder because it's like, all right, I got to see a full day here. I see a full day here. I feel like I'm doing good. You know, it's like a mental thing. Like
so let's talk about that real quick. So if you have a calendar, if you have a schedule, right, you're already ahead of a lot of people, right? You're already above average, because the reality of it is that there's so many people out there, they wake up and they have no sense of the direction for their day.
Absolutely.
Right. They're waking up and they're trying to figure out, what am I going to do today?
Yep.
Right. Meaning, if they waking up like that, they're waking up without a sense of purpose. They're waking up without intent. And with somebody that wakes up without a sense of purpose and that lacks intent, then unfortunately they fall in the category of people that don't. Right. I was saying this last night on Instagram Live. You know, I said you have people that do, you have doers, and then you have people that don't. And the only thing that separates those two is them waking up every single morning, and either they're deciding unconsciously or consciously to either be proactive, meaning they're going to work on building a better future, or reactive because they're reacting off of decisions they made in the past, right? They credit shot, so they got to do X, Y, Z.
Or reacting off of the state of the world, pandemic, like, you got to be proactive in situations like that. So yeah, you're on to it. Man. Yeah, for sure. And like the fact that like you can wake up and you're thinking of, what am I going to do today? That's already time wasted. Because now you got to figure out what you're going to do. Now you got to go schedule it, as opposed to waking up and everything's already scheduled. Boom, I got a notary appointment here. Got to drop off car here, come back, haircut, whatever, right? Like everything's already scheduled. So yeah, big believer in that.
Ritual. Facts. The money is made in the ritual.
Facts. How old are you, by the chance? I don't think we got that.
I'm 26.
26. Cool. And I believe we were talking, but you had just quit your job in March, I think you said?
Yep, March.
Cool. So it's been a couple months, maybe like 4 months. I don't know. My math might be off, but 4 months and you've been full entrepreneurship. I want to talk about that a little bit. How was that? What a few things you could touch on. What made you quit? You're 26 years old, and how are you surviving now? Pretty much. I know I obviously you got money coming in, but I'm saying, like, let's talk about it emotionally and spirituality, like wise, like how are you dealing with that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when I first started the job, I was telling myself that I was only going to do 5 years. I was saying I'm gonna work a job for the year, After that year, I'm out.
Yeah.
When I look back at it and I actually see what I was thinking, I really had unrealistic expectations. I didn't have a business that was already up and running. I didn't have all these things. And I had income coming in. I was just now getting the network marketing business off the ground, but it wasn't enough to
leave.
Really leave. Right. So I had a 1 year commitment that didn't work out. And then I started taking time off of it. I took the time piece out of it and I just worked on, how do I replace my monthly income? How do I replace my monthly income? Let me just focus on that. And let me not put a time limit on my growth and development. As long as I can see my progress, I'm cool with that. Right. I don't want to put a time limit on it because a time limit may open up an opportunity for me to make a bad decision because I'm trying to meet a deadline rather than doing things correctly. So had the 1 year commitment, didn't work out. And honestly, I would have stayed. I had already been making more on the side than I was making at my job. So I had completely replaced my income. And if the first thing I always tell people is this, I said, there's so many people out there, they got insurance on their vehicles, they have insurance on their phones, they have homeowners insurance, renters insurance. Some of us got life insurance. That's a total different topic though. But not many of us have insurance on our income. I'm gonna repeat that. Not many of us have insurance on our income, meaning that one person is totally in control whether we pay our bills or not, or one entity is totally in control of whether your kids or your family eat or not. And for me, I had a personal problem with that, and so I replaced my income. I had insurance on my income just in case, right? These folks, this company, this employer wanted to cut me loose. My lifestyle wouldn't change, right? If my employer, if the answer to this question is yes for you, you got a problem, whether you realize it or not. If your employer cut you off right now and stop paying you, will your life change? Will your lifestyle change? If the answer is yes to that, you have a major problem and you need to begin diagnosing that as quickly as possible. So already was making more on the side. Would have stayed because it was a sweet job. It was actually pretty damn interesting. The only reason why I left was because the manager at the time, he began invading my personal space. And so when I say invading my personal space, what am I talking about? What does that mean? Well, he started asking me questions about my social media and my social media presence. Hey, I noticed that you do real estate. How are you focusing on real estate and also working a job at the same time? Oh, I noticed that you got rental cars. How are you doing rental cars and managing your role here? And I had a personal problem with that. And so I asked him, I said, well, is my performance impacted? Has there been a impact on my performance? No. Everything is going well. I love having you on the team. There's been nothing but an asset.
He sounds white.
Make sure you get promoted for sure.
Yeah.
I want to make sure you get promoted, X, Y, Z. And my thought process is, why are we having this conversation then?
Yeah.
Right. Because what I do personally has nothing to do with what I do professionally. And I prefer to keep those two separate. And so when we had that conversation, I just never been able to look at him the same. I was always looking over my shoulder because he would always ask me, oh, how was your weekend? And, he would like,
you had to be, you had to be careful how you answer, right? Like, yeah.
Right.
You're walking on eggshells the whole time.
Yeah. I'm not about to lock up my page and make my page private because, my personal brand allows me to generate additional streams of income. So I'm not locking up my page. So I'm not about to hide anything. So that was the primary reason why I left. It was a very hard decision because obviously you've been doing this thing for the last 3 years and then you up and saying that you're leaving, right? So I'm talking nice pharmaceutical company, big company, benefits, the whole nine, excellent fucking benefits. And I was stressed out, right? I had anxiety. I didn't know what to do. And so I thought about it deeply. I spoke it over with a couple of people, and shout out to Andre Hatchett. Andre Hatchett was really the person that kind of put it in my head. Andre. And he was just like, man, like what you waiting on? It's either now or never. You've already put yourself in position. It would be different if you wasn't in position, right? And so, I thought about it for 3 days, and I did put my 2 weeks in, and it was the worst 2 weeks of my life. Well, not the worst, but part of the worst 2 weeks.
Yeah. Okay. You mentioned something very important, income insurance, right? So I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to think about it while I kind of go into why I'm asking the question. You made the decision. Okay. You said that if you're working a 9 to 5 and your employer cuts you, that boss is like, bye-bye. And if you don't have a security income, then you're living the wrong way. Now, I want to ask, as an entrepreneur, is it the same? Because in your businesses, from my understanding, they all rely on customers. So in technicality, you're not your own boss. The customers are. And a lot of people don't understand that because you're in a customer business, right? You're in a customer satisfaction business. So how is there income insurance on you just being an entrepreneur? Because that can be gone, in an instant, right? People could stop traveling, COVID, right? It didn't happen. Like, honestly, COVID for Turo was like amazing, but still, let's just say the worst. People just stop traveling, your cars don't get rented. And no one wants to network market with you. Your real estate, they extend the moratorium again and again, and renters don't need to pay rent to you. So I'm just throwing random shit out. Your income stops. How do you go about saving that?
That's an excellent question.
Yeah.
8+ on the fucking question.
Thanks.
So we have to understand that money comes from one place and one place only, and that's other people's bank accounts.
And not trees. Not trees, kids.
Yeah, it comes from one place to one place only, and that's other people's bank accounts. So whether you like it or not, you will always have some form of a customer. Period.
Dude, I'm writing that down. That's crazy.
Even if you have a job, that you're serving a customer. So it's really the same thing. The only difference is that you have more control on how that customer is treated and how that company is branded and how those customers perceive that company. You have the ability to now create a culture within the organization that you start, rather than fitting into a pre-existing culture that may not personally align with your morals, values, and standards as a human being, right? Man, woman, whatever you like to, identify as. So when we talk about that, we first understand that money comes from one place only, and that's other people's bank accounts. And then when we talk about having insurance on your income, we have to have need-based businesses. We have to have need-based businesses. These are businesses that people need. These are recession-proof businesses. No matter what, people are going to need these things. No matter what, people are going to need to file their taxes. Point blank, period. No matter what, people are going to need to file their taxes. There is no moratorium on taxes, right? The IRS, they need they pay. The government need they pay, right? And then real estate, people always need some place to stay. That's point blank, period. You probably going to be listening to this podcast interview in some form of real estate, right? You're probably going to be watching it, the clip notes, or however you're going to hear it in some form of real estate. The likelihood of you doing that is extremely high. You was more than likely born in some form of real estate. So when we talk about that, there's even recession-proof strategies in real estate. Section 8, right? You can have Section 8 tenants, right? Those Section 8 tenants, the government is not missing a payment. The government is not missing a payment, right? You're going to get that payment every single month, point blank, period. It's recession-proof. So we got to have need-based businesses that are recession-proof.
Nice. Okay, so you touched up on a few. Are there a few other recession-proof businesses? I would love to have you tell the audience. Real estate, you got taxes. What else?
Those are the two that I'm involved with. I try not to speak on things that I'm not personally engaged with.
Do you think the car rental business is recession-proof?
Sure. We could say it's recession-proof. People are gonna always need some place. People are always gonna need to get around. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? People will always need some place to go.
Can I tell you
So
why? Can I tell you why it was recession proof?
yeah, go
Because
ahead.
my experience and the change I saw from people renting my cars, obviously, you know, the summer, huge travelers, everyone's traveling, families coming in. But what I saw was as soon as the pandemic hit, there was like not even, there was a slowdown, but it's just a change in people renting. The people renting were first time users, right? You have the car rental places all shut down or all out of inventory, so they had nowhere to rent from, so they needed to come up with different ways, right? So they would Google, Turo would pop up. Also, another thing, buses were shut down. No one was allowing people to go anywhere. You couldn't go pick up groceries. You couldn't go do anything, right? We were on lockdown, so people needed a way to rent cars. And if both of those are shut down, the car rental business, everyone's going to it on Turo. So that's kind of what I saw as like a change in demographics. First time renters, people who literally just needed the car for a couple hours as opposed to a whole weekend so they can drive 200 miles away and vacation, right? It was more of just, hey, I just need the car to go to the store. I just need the car to go run this quick errand. I need this car to go check on my parents, you know, something super simple. So that's why I think it might be recession proof. But yeah, I don't know. Obviously there's opinions on that. That's just an opinion.
Yeah. I mean, same here. Like I got 5 cars that I rent out across multiple platforms to a hire car, and my demand didn't personally slow down. Right, my demand was there. You know, people were renting cars out on hire car to do Instacart. People were renting cars out
There
on
you
hire
go.
car to do Uber. Right,
Yeah,
people were renting
dude.
cars out to
True.
do DoorDash or I forgot Rover. I think it's the other one, Rover, where they actually pick up your luggage and stuff like that. So yeah, I didn't have a slowdown in the rental car space. So yeah, that's add that to the list, right? Another
Yeah.
recession proof.
No, that's true. Another one I want to mention for the audience is Notary. Actually started it during the pandemic. Shout out to Andre Hatchett, Tiger Toledo, and Malik for putting me on. But and actually coaching me. Oh, and Tech, cannot forget Tech as my mentor out here in the Bay Area. Thank you. But yeah, definitely pandemic proof like a motherfucker. Like
One more to
obviously,
add to the list.
go ahead.
If you have a cybersecurity company, recession proof, point blank period.
Yeah.
2000% recession proof.
Like I think your professor told you 2 things that will always be there is like tech and he said something else, right? IT or something. So
well, what a lot of people don't know is that there's more than a physical war that's going on right now. There's a digital war too. Right now somebody is trying to hack into a server and compromise somebody's information and do a data breach on a company. Right, like these are things that are happening right now that we can't even see.
Yeah, someone's trying to hack into this Zoom right now, probably.
Somebody could be trying to hack. No, seriously.
Yeah,
somebody could be trying to hack into the Zoom right now. So that business 100% recession proof.
Facts,
you're not going nowhere.
Yeah, dope. Okay, cool. I want to kind of dive into the real estate a little bit, but before we do, any books and podcasts, audibles that kind of got you along the journey?
Yeah, so I don't read books as much. Books make me sleepy unless I'm like on a plane.
Bro, me too. I only listen. Bro, me too.
Yeah, I can't do the books, man. I do audibles only.
Yep.
Because it's more engaging, more entertaining. Sometimes you can even have the author read the book to you.
Yep.
So one of the first books that I would recommend folks to read it's not the first book I read, but first book that going through so many books, I would go through books in this order. The first book that I will read is You Were Born Rich. You Were Born Rich by Bob Proctor is a game changer. I mean, the book is just fire. The second book is this one is more for men. The Way of the Superior Man. I will read that book. I'm not even gonna say that's the second book. That's just a book that all men need to read. Point blank. Period. Hands down. You need to read that book, especially if you want to be a man. Like if you want to be a man of value, a man of morals, a man of standards, and you want to know how to control your masculine energy, especially as you accomplish more in life, you know, things, we live in a spiritual world with physical beings operating in a spiritual world, whether we recognize that or not. And you got to make sure that you protect your energy at all costs, because we're all vibrating in our own frequency.
Facts.
So that's that part. The second book that I would recommend for everybody to read is Robert Kiyosaki's Cash Flow Quadrant. Robert Kiyosaki's Cash Flow Quadrant. Rich Dad Poor Dad is cool, but I'm gonna up it a notch and just go to Robert Kiyosaki's Cash Flow Quadrant. And the last book that I would recommend for everybody to read, every single body, is Napoleon Hill's Outwitting the Devil. That book, you got to read that book. I read that book at least once a year. I'm on year 3 on reading that book.
Outwitting the Devil. Napoleon Hill. All right. Cool. Okay, cool. And what about podcasts?
There wasn't no podcast that really impacted me personally in my journey. I listen to podcasts, but not as often as I used to. So I wouldn't say, that there was any podcast specifically that changed my life in particular. However, I would recommend folks to check out a couple different podcasts. One, Millionaire Mindsets by Xavier Miller and Deanna Kemp. Black Wealth Renaissance, BWR podcast with the Black Wealth Renaissance folks. And then last but not least, Andre Hatch's podcast, The Hatch's Way.
Facts. Andre Hatchet podcast, Jalen and David with BWR. And I really like Earn Your Leisure as well. I haven't met those people yet, but I definitely will be in the same room with them. I'm speaking that into existence. So those are great podcasts. And Black Dialogue Real Estate, where you can learn more about Gene's real estate endeavors into detail. We're going to touch on that right here in a minute. So you want to explain your real estate? How were you introduced into real estate?
Got into real estate, got introduced fairly young. I didn't actually know what was going on, but I was involved in a program that targeted at-risk youth. At-risk meaning at risk of gun violence and or at risk of going to jail. And the mentors that I acquired through that program own real estate, and they would pick me up on like a weekday to kind of help out around a couple of their properties. And at that time, there was never a conversation that was around real estate or anything like that. It was literally solely just me just showing up to this place, and I'm staying busy just doing work on the side. But that was my bright introduction, bright introduction into real estate. And then I got more and more interested after I read Rich Dad Poor Dad and Robert Kiyosaki was talking about to make sure that you fill up your asset column, right? And then he really hounded in on real estate. And so from there, after going through so many Robert Kiyosaki books, I had to brainwash myself personally. Right, I had to reprogram my mind, and I tell people that all the time. Like you gotta reprogram your mind. That's the only way that you're gonna get to the next level, especially if you've been operating from a place of scarcity and not even knowing that you are. So that book really introduced me to real estate, and then I joined a private real estate network marketing company that taught real estate and was filled with a bunch of real estate investors. So that helped me build up my my network. That really gave me a strong ass network. So I did that, and then I started buying properties from there.
Nice. That's cool. And how many properties you own right now?
I got 31 units right now.
God damn. You all by yourself? Any partnerships?
Yeah, partnerships. So I got 2 of them solely just me. And then the majority of them, the rest of them, to be quite candid, are all partnerships. However, strategic partnerships, when I say strategic, these are partnerships that align with my business model and the way I like to set certain things up. It's not a typical standard, hey, Gene, or hey, Jasmine, let's go 50-50 on X, Y, and Z. Those types of partnerships I may entertain in the future at some point in time, but during this duration of my career, how I scale to 31 units. It was a very strategic partnership.
Can you talk about it, or do you want to share your secret?
Yeah. We could talk about it. So, long story short, let me see how can I sum it up. So basically, what I did was I partnered with some of my students that I was teaching to in my private real estate network marketing group. They didn't have the necessary capital to actually get started in the real estate. They had the credit, they didn't have the capital, and some of them didn't even have the credit until after I repaired their credit, and now I made them credit worthy. And so once you do that with somebody, you have and you build up a tremendous amount of trust, and now that person trusts you. But the only thing that the majority of my students were missing was the actual experience and the know-how and the capital. So I provided the capital for each of the deals. They provided the credit. So the properties were closed in their name, and then we later quick claim deed the properties over into an LLC, and then we later did some things with a trust. But so that's what I did. I put down a down payment. However, the difference between that is before they realized any profit from these buildings, I got my initial I got my initial money back first, right? So that allowed me to secure my initial investment in these deals. So hypothetically, I give out an example, not my case, but let's just say you got $100,000 and you got 10 properties that you're looking to buy. Each of these 10 properties costs $10,000 for you to close. So you spread those properties out across 10 properties. That's 100,000. And so you structure the deal to where the person that you partner with does not get any of the actual net cash flow until you get your $10,000 back.
Are you long-term renting or short-term renting?
Long-term.
Long-term. So it might take a while to get the 10,000 back.
What are you defining as short-term?
Airbnb.
Like Airbnb. Yeah, no, I'm not doing Airbnb. I have no Airbnbs whatsoever at all. Depending on how you structure your deal, it may take you about 9 months. It may take you about 9 months. It may take you about 10 months. I'm cool on that. 10 months for me to have an asset that will appreciate in value. My tenants would pay down the mortgage. They would allow me to increase the equity. Then I also get tax benefits as well. This is a no-brainer for me. So it's not just cash. It's also an investment play.
Talk about for the audience who may not know, do you get tax benefits with your name not on the loan?
So it depends on how you structured the deal. So hypothetically, let's say you buy a property without a loan. Let's say you do creative financing and you buy a property via contract for deed or a land contract. Well, when you buy a property via contract for deed and or a land contract, you don't necessarily own the property, but you control the property via contract. And since I control the property via contract, I'm the one that suffered the depreciation, right? So those are things that you can put inside of a contract, which essentially allows you to be able to take advantage of those tax benefits, such as depreciation, right? So it's different. It's a case by case scenario, and then also included with that, you also got to look at how certain things are set up. So all of my properties are in a business, right? So in a business, you have business expenses, right? Those business expenses can offset what you make personally, right? So there's multiple ways on how you can set certain things up to make sure that you can reap the benefits of your real estate portfolio.
Amazing, bro. 31 properties at 26 years old. That is something to applaud, man. And especially to see another Black man, building wealth this way. And so I applaud you. Great job, man.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. We're gonna take a little break right now. I'm gonna play some music, and then we'll get to our Hella Misguided segment. All right, guys. All right, everybody. We are back, and we are gonna start with the Hella Misguided segment, where I ask the same question to each entrepreneur that comes up on here, and that question is: if you were to write a letter to your 18-year-old self, what would be a summary of that letter?
Stack your money.
Yeah. Stop buying Jordans. Stop buying Jordans.
Yeah, it would be stack your money. Don't compare yourself to other people. Stack your money. Don't compare yourself to other people. Get educated as quickly as possible on the things that you really want to do that will create, a fruitful lifestyle, and understand how money works. It'd be stack your money. Yeah, everything I just said, but it would, if I could just sum it up, it would really just be stack your money and get educated on finances as quickly as possible.
As quickly, yeah. Just read or listen to audiobooks, podcasts, just learn, right? Educate yourself. Like educate yourself on the stuff that they don't teach in college, pretty much. Like,
Basically.
Quick question. Do you think college was a waste of time?
No.
Okay, and I think I know why you say that. Because of the networking that it offers?
College wasn't a waste of time for me because college put me if I didn't go to college, I probably wouldn't be in the position that I'm in right now. College got me a job. Mm-hmm. College got me an internship that was able to allow a kid from the south side of Chicago that come from a family that's lived paycheck to paycheck to be able to have his
save
own.
Up. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It put me in a position to where I can get a job that was 6 figures coming out of college, and I could use that money to go buy more money.
Yeah.
So for me, college wasn't a waste of time at all. Now, when we talk about the level of education that college provides, that's a different conversation. But the experiences, the memories, the people that I met, and the positioning, hands down, I wouldn't take it back.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree, dude. The experience, the networking and the relationships I made was just amazing. And it allowed me to open my eyes a lot more. If I would have stayed in the same neighborhood I grew up in, I would have been a totally different person. And so me going, I'm Bay Area, Berkeley, right? Predominantly Black neighborhood, and then taking my ass to go play basketball at an all white school where we're talking 1% or less of Black people, in fucking Colorado Springs, a very conservative place. Taking that and the experience I got and the knowledge I got from sitting at the table with the white folks, asking them, how were you able to afford to get your son and daughter here? Like, those type of questions really opened my mind to financial literacy. And that's like kind of what started the journey, is like, shit, yo, like, why weren't my parents teaching me this, right? Like, why am I in a different position than them? And I really had to sit and really figure that out. And that's what my next question is going to be is, where do you begin to correct the wealth gap in America?
You begin with yourself.
What do you mean by that?
Meaning, some people, here's the thing. There's going to be some, you can't save everybody, right? You can't save everybody. You don't want to burn time, burn energy, burn effort trying to get somebody to adapt an ideology that unfortunately they will refuse to adapt because they've been trained and conditioned to see life and view life one way. So with that being said, you do have the ability to change you and the people that come from you. So for me, I'm not personally concerned with the entire wealth gap of the world, the United States, or whatever. I'm concerned about the wealth gap within the Marshalls because I can change that. I know for a fact that I can change that. And if I can change the world in the process, then cool. That's an added bonus. But for me, I want to change myself first, get educated as quickly as possible, understand the morals and values that I need to have to be a good father, to be a good man, to be a good husband, and then be able to position the family that come after me in a manner that I wasn't necessarily positioned for. And if we can start doing that first, if we just focus on doing that first, then that will create a wave of a new generation. If we just focus on set your family up first, right? If you just focus on that, in my personal opinion, that's how you bridge the wealth gap, right? One family at a time, right? Especially for Black people or the minority group, one family at a time. It's going to take a long time to get there, but you have control over that. I don't have control over Bob, James, whoever that lives over in Washington, lives over in Seattle, but I do have control over what I do and what I produce.
Bro, that's amazing, bro. You are the first person who has ever said that to like an answer of that question, who just starts with one family at a time. And it starts with ideally yourself, right? And yeah, that's powerful, dude. That's definitely powerful because you are absolutely right. You can't, it's almost like like if your therapist tells you can't worry about the things you can't control, right? We can't go control the fucking government. Like we can't go control the school system, right? You know what I used to think, the naive Juwan, back in college, my goal was to be an FBI agent. Okay, that was my dream since I was little. Besides being a NBA basketball player, but my backup plan was FBI agent, and so I did all this stuff to get there. Right? Didn't know you had to be a cop first to become an FBI agent. Right? Didn't know that. So as I'm going through this process, um, I I pretty much realized that like okay, as I'm going through this process, I thought that I can put myself in the cop's shoes and change the system within. Like, oh, I'm gonna be different. I'm gonna show them how to really be a good cop. You know what I mean? Not knowing that myself cannot change the broken system, right? No matter how high up I am, lieutenant, whatever, sergeant, it doesn't matter, right? So I think it's like the same thing. Like I can't control the things I cannot control, but I can control myself. So what did I do? I'm not a cop, right? And so I think that for me, that's kind of like similar to what you're saying, right? Work on yourself.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then change the ones around you. It's almost like growing your inner circle. So, but yeah, bro, that was amazing, man. Good job. How do you go about budgeting as an entrepreneur? You have so many businesses, you have so many deposits and expenses being taken out of your account daily. That's hard for a lot of people. That's overwhelming for a lot of people. It's not the W-2. I get a huge paycheck every 2 weeks on Friday, and then I pay my bills then. It's no, I'm paying my bills and I'm paying expenses and I'm getting paid at the same time. How do I know what cash flow is actually mine?
You know what, man? We were just talking about this before we started the podcast. I mean, like even today, it's 10:30. It was whatever time we started, and I'd have already spent about $5,000 today. So I mean, it to that bothers me personally sometimes.
Yeah, wake up, spend $5,000. Like, God damn.
But you gotta do it, right? If this is what it takes to keep the water running, if this is what it takes to, get to the next level, then I gotta do what I gotta do. But you gotta have a system for every single thing, and you gotta be very, very organized in your financial life. Because if you're not, if your financial health is not on point, man, it's going to impact everything. It's going to mess with your anxiety. It's going to mess with your, it's going to do everything to you. So what I have is, I have many different things. Let me see, what can I give without going too long? So in that sense, you want to have a bank account for each and every individual business. Okay. You want to have a bank account for each individual business, point blank, period. That way you can keep everything separate and you can categorize all expenses and income to one specific business, right? So that's the first thing. That's how I manage and track what expenses are coming from what, because I make sure I allocate certain expenses to certain businesses, right? So I have a business for the real estate, right? And not only that, I have a business per property. Each property has its own LLC, so I know exactly what I spent for that property.
You can't do that in California. It'd be hella taxes per year.
how do I manage how do I manage my expenses? I use QuickBooks.
Yep.
Right. QuickBooks allows me to essentially manage my expenses. And so that's just a general rule of thumb, no matter where you located. If you own real estate, right, you want to make sure that each individual property has its own LLC. And that's just a general rule of thumb, whether you in California, whether you in Miami or whatever it is. And the reason being is because you want to own nothing but control everything. So if I have a a business that owns a property in LA, a business that same business owns property in Chicago, and I get into a lawsuit with Juwan. Juwan doesn't like me for whatever reason. Maybe, we just disagreed on certain things. He had a bad experience. Who knows? He decides to sue me. Well, if he decides to sue my business, then he can go after the assets of that business. And if one of the assets is a property in LA and the other asset is a property in Chicago, well, he can go after both of those assets, right? And then he can take them potentially, right? I may be required to liquidate them to pay off some debt that I owe to Juwan. But if I have those properties in a separate LLC, now that individual that's suing me can only go after what that LLC owns. So if that LLC only owns the property in Chicago, then he can only go after the assets that LLC owns, which is that one property in Chicago. He can't touch LA. He can't touch Washington. He can't touch Miami. And that's why it's very important to have a separate LLC for each individual business that you have and each individual property that you have as well. That's just best practice.
And to add on top of that, you got to be very strategic and careful on how you handle those bank accounts, how you handle that business paperwork. A lot of people aren't good with paperwork. And when you become an entrepreneur and you have multiple businesses, you have to be really good at those things, or hire someone that is, if you don't want to spend the time, because you can have those multiple businesses. You can have 7 businesses, each house in a different LLC, but attorneys are good. It's easy to pierce that corporate veil. Right. So if that one slip up, if you accidentally paid for something out of your business expense and it was a personal expense, boom, attorney found the hole, right? Now he can go after everything. And so when you talk about how important it is to really separate the liability, I think it's important to also add how important it is to manage it and really be on top of your shit. Because, I've had some potential business partners that I've wanted to partner with, and they're not really good with paperwork, organization, and keeping everything together. Like, it's just a mess, like making crazy money. Cash flow is insane. But if you don't have your business organization together, it's super hard for me to partner with, because I like to see everything lined up. I like to be ready to answer every question when IRS comes knocking at your door. You feel me? And so if we can't see eye to eye on that alone, like, we could see, difference, whatever. But if we just can't, like, one of us has to be able to really manage the business and oversee it, or we go hire someone together, right? Yes. To do it. So I think that's super important when you touch on LLCs and partnerships. So that's amazing, man. Cool. We are going to wrap up. You've answered amazing questions, some really good ones. And I thank you. The way I like to wrap it up is with a segment called Guided Conclusions, where I ask you a question that we haven't talked about before this recording. It could be funny, serious. It could be heartbreaking. Bro, we could get emotional right now. All right. So are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Today's question: what classes would you add to the school systems and why? Mandatory classes.
What classes would I add to the school system that's not already there, right?
Yep.
It can't be anything that already exists.
No.
Okay. Personal finance, man. How to buy a house, how to maintain your credit score, how to get business funding to start a business, how to identify what an ideal customer is, understanding the difference between, service-based businesses and, product-based businesses. I would start there, how to get business capital, right? What do venture capitalists and angel investors look for a business to be profitable, and how to do it for yourself. Like, don't just tell me what they look for. Tell me how to do it for myself.
Yeah.
So I would probably really just say in a nutshell, personal finance.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. Mine would be personal finance. Mine would be taxes, a class for taxes. Mine would be a class for becoming a parent. Mine would be let's see, maybe like almost like a social class, like like uh like a social interaction class, right? Like a networking type of thing, right?
Mm.
A lot of people don't know how to network. A lot of people, but when they go to networking events, they're, how can you help me, as opposed to what can I do to help you and build this relationship, and that way we can work later on. You know what I mean? So maybe, yeah.
That's powerful.
Yeah. Amazing question and answer. So thank you, man. Do you want to drop all your information so everyone can reach you? If you got any courses, anything, bro.
Yeah, so you guys can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at __ Mr. Marshall. You can tap in with me there. I always respond to my DMs. At least I try to in a timely manner. At least you can get my real estate rehab blueprint if you're looking to get in real estate and you can't find properties that are turnkey ready. So you want to buy properties at a discount and you want to buy them distressed. I'll teach you how to find those properties, how to analyze those properties, and also how to pay yourself during the process, so you're not, going too long without, or you're not, relying on any cash flow from a tenant necessarily to actually make money on that deal. So I teach you how to make, money actually renovating the process as well. I teach you how to hire subcontractors, how to manage subcontractors. If you don't want to be a general contractor, I'll also teach you how to screen general contractors for that deal specifically, how to manage them, and how to make sure that you get your project done in a timely manner. Because, when we talk about real estate, especially rehabs, we understand that it's a time game, right? Time is money, and when there's money on the line, you want to be able to turn that property over as quickly as possible. I'm also going to teach you how to get the capital that you need to actually have, some liquidity to be able to fund the actual rehab, and you're not completely relying on, personal savings and or the bank to fully fund the projects that you take on within itself. So you can pick that up at therenogame.com. It's currently on sale for $50, $49.99. The original ticket price is 160. So it'll be on sale until Friday or so, and then once Friday come, we'll be jacking the price back up. But we wanted to make sure that we can honor this time, and we just not coming off of a holiday weekend, so it's currently on sale. So you can get that at therenogame.com. That's TheRenogame.com. And then you can add me on the socials.
Cool. Well, you heard it here. Everyone, make sure you like and subscribe this episode, and comment if you're watching on YouTube. And make sure you rate the podcast. It helps us grow. And shout out to Gene for coming up here. So thank you, brother. You heard it here, guys. This is the Misguided Podcast. We intend to guide you to a better future. My name is Juwan. Again, I'm sitting here with Gene, the real estate investor. Thank you, man.
Appreciate it.